Coming up, a top CEO is murdered in New York.
And later, Christmas fever sweeps Iowa City.
Marcus Quirk Cornell basketball's Mr. Worldwide.
Is the winter breeze finally going away? Something has to change. Find out in weather.
All that and more
coming up right now on DITV.
Good morning from Iowa City. It is Friday, December 6th. I'm Dravin Murdy.
And I'm Ryan Lynch.
And the third member of our team, Jake Rios, is live outside to tell us today's forecast.
Well, guys, I am currently fighting off the frostbite out here at Hubbard Park, where it is 18 degrees, and I'm hoping that that will change later in the week. And you definitely want to make sure to layer up because we are not out of the woods yet, although it should start to rise up to about 39 degrees this afternoon. Temperatures tonight will start to drop back down to 27 degrees as the clouds will start to form. And tomorrow morning it'll start out at a cold 25 degrees, but the wind is going to make that temperature feel slightly cooler. That's all I have right now, but I'll have more in the week later on, so I'll toss it back to you guys in the studio.
For our top story, a former Iowa graduate was gunned down in New York City Wednesday morning. Authorities are still searching for the killer, and DITV's Johnny Voltman has updates on the search.
It's been 2 days since Brian Thompson was shot to death outside a Manhattan hotel. The assassin remains at large in what has been labeled a targeted killing.
Every indication is that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack. Many people passed the suspect, but he appeared to wait for his intended target.
The assassin took a bike to flee the scene and has been picked up on security cameras, making his way around New York City.
We really don't know what it was about, but shocked that somebody would be killed in broad daylight in New York. That's really quite shocking.
A person of interest has had their image released as authorities continue to search for the man who killed Thompson. Thompson, the University of Iowa's 1997 valedictorian and CEO of health insurance company United Healthcare, was only 50.
There are no words to describe how so many of us are feeling right now. Brian was a truly extraordinary person who touched the lives of countless people throughout our organization and far beyond.
The latest information on the suspected killer is that he used a fake ID and flew from Atlanta to New York to carry out the killing. Police in New York City continue their search throughout the city to find the suspected killer. From the University of Iowa, Johnny Voltman, DITV.
A move by France's parliament is causing shakeups around the country. DITV Assistant News Director Jace Bertrand has the build-up and possible results of the vote.
France's government is on the verge of collapse after the prime minister was ousted from his position. On Wednesday, France's parliament moved to remove Michel Barnier following a vote of no confidence. Barnier was 3 months into his term, making him the shortest-serving prime minister in French history. His removal comes following a deadlocked parliament's failure to pass a budgeting bill for the year. France's government has been fraught with conflict following a narrow election which saw the parliament split 3 ways between the leftist New Popular Front Party, the centrist Ensemble Party, and the far-right National Rally Party. With Barnier's removal comes several issues, such as the fact that elections for a new prime minister cannot be held until next year, leaving the parliament without a leader. However, French President Emmanuel Macron has vowed to appoint a new prime minister as soon as possible.
The mandate you have democratically entrusted to me is a 5-year term, and I will exercise it to the full. My responsibility is to ensure the continuity of the state, the smooth running of our institutions, the independence of our country, and the protection of all of you.
President Macron is facing similar calls to step down from opposition party leaders. From Iowa City, Jace Bertrand, DITV.
A former Iowa City police officer has filed a lawsuit against the Iowa City Police Department. Emilio Prente is alleging workplace race discrimination in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Iowa. Prente also alleges the department did not show him the same support after a disabling injury on the job that other officers received. He filed a previous lawsuit in Johnson County District Court seeking the reinstatement into the police department. Prente's state court claim was denied when a jury found the Iowa City Police Department accepted his resignation before he withdrew it.
A new group of local farming businesses recently organized a bus tour to 4 local farms as a new way to strengthen Johnson County's agricultural economy.
Managing News Editor Jack Moore is in the newsroom with the details of what agritourism is all about.
That's right, Ryan. Agritourism is a way for local farmers to bring in revenue year-round. And for them, it's about showing people what agriculture is all about.
Many mornings start the same for Bob and Christy Walker, from planting crops to feeding farm animals. There is never a dry moment. The couple's dream to farm led to the creation of Walker Homestead, an 85-acre farmland growing an entourage of plants, including grapes, bananas, and vegetables.
We feel we got really lucky in buying this property.
Their love for the land led them into a business venture to share the land they love with the community. However, chilling winter months can be detrimental to farm growth, and that's why farms like Walker Homestead are joining a coalition of local farmers looking to bolster agritourism in the county. It's called the County Cruise, and Johnson County residents packed the first bus to explore these local farms. Community members got a taste of different wines, food, and the life of farmers during the journey, and this is only the start. Sarah Thompson, Director of Rural Development for MERGE, which is a hub for business innovation in Iowa City, helped organize the County Cruise. Thompson has worked with 10 farming businesses and is planning more ways to highlight the agricultural industry.
We can really make this whole area a destination.
As the farmers pack away the plows, farmers remained reassured the entrepreneurial spirit continues to grow.
In the spring. Back to you in the studio.
With its arrival at Hancher Auditorium, Dear Evan Hansen strives to remind you that you are not alone. DITV's Madison Johnson talked with actors, staff, and crew about how this show made its way to Iowa City.
Tonight, Dear Evan Hansen opens in Iowa City, but for the actors, they've been preparing for this for months.
Well, we were in New York for about 3 weeks before we took the show to San Antonio for tech. And then we hit the ground running.
When the staff at Hancher chose to make Dear Evan Hansen a part of this year's Broadway series, they picked it not just for its community impact,
Evan
but
Hansen
also
is really
for its
the story of
relatability.
a young person who is mostly able to engage with the world online. I think that's only gotten worse since the pandemic.
For the actors, this relatability is part of what drew them into the show.
When the musical came out in 2016, I was in high school, so it very much, I felt like, was being marketed like for me and my demographic. And I actually auditioned for the show for the first time in 2017.
The crew here at Hancher has a busy day ahead of them, putting together the stage ahead of opening night.
And so these design elements are really crucial. They're probably just as crucial as the performers or the score or the book.
Dear Evan Hansen opens tonight at 7:30 with additional showings throughout the weekend.
So whether you will be found here at the theater or enjoying a picture-perfect afternoon this weekend, please remember all the hard work that goes into putting together a national tour. From Hancher Auditorium, Madison Johnson, DITV.
The Iowa River was added to the state's impaired waters list by the Environmental Protection Agency. A public notice was released on November 12th, citing high levels of nitrate in the river. Test results partially met the requirements of the EPA's regulations, but they were not enough to ignore. The source for Iowa City's drinking water was then flagged by the agency. Despite any concerns, officials say there is no immediate threat to the public. The Iowa City Water Superintendent confirmed that the university and the city take careful procedures to keep the water safe.
An annual winter season tradition returns to Iowa City. DITV's Mark Fortunato visited the holiday market.
I am standing in the Ped Mall in Iowa City, where the downtown district is once again welcoming its winter season pop-up shops. The Downtown Iowa City Pop-Up Market is an annual holiday season event. Headed into its 4th year, the venue serves as a space for vendors to connect with Iowa City residents.
They give us the opportunity to put products inside of them or bring in new retailers to kind of complement the downtown mix of retail stores.
With its location being in the heart of downtown, the shop attracts loyal business customers, college students, and families.
It's a nice way to kind of bring some interactive experiences to Blackhawk Mini Park to help kind of during the holiday season.
With a rotating schedule, the shops are constantly changing its inventory. Its focus on retail allows it to stand out within the Iowa City community.
We bring in other retailers, and so some of those retailers are businesses that are already downtown, already have physical locations, and other retailers are people that are outside of our district.
The pop-up shops take note of different stores in the area and strategically choose vendors that can contribute to new merchandise in Iowa City.
We're not bringing in people who are going to compete with our pre-existing businesses, but businesses that, like I've been saying, are going to complement our other businesses. Being a business improvement district, that's our #1 goal, is to support the businesses within our district.
The holiday markets will continue hosting vendors through the Christmas season. From Iowa City, Mark Fortunato, DITV.
If you've driven down Riverside Drive, you may have seen rows of Christmas trees up for sale. DITV's Ryan Paris went to find out why.
For over 40 years, the Iowa City Moon Optimist Club has been selling Christmas trees at the Iowa City Dairy Queen. The sale typically begins after Thanksgiving and provides the community with a way to get real Christmas trees close to home.
It's a fundraiser, always has been, for youth projects. The Optimist Club's philosophy is service to youth.
Some of the groups that the proceeds serve include local Boy Scout troops, the Children's Museum, and clubs and sport programs at City High. Shoppers pick the trees that they want and then give it to the Optimist Club volunteers to help cut and load the trees into buyers' cars. The tree sale is also special as a family tradition.
My son's 25 and daughter just turned 21, and we've got pictures in front of the sign pretty much every year.
It's fun to decorate and just keep up with the watering it and all of that. The kids help with all of those steps, so it's just fun to include them in those things.
It's clear that the sale gives members of the Optimist Club and the community memories to cherish long after the holiday season ends. The tree sale will remain open until all trees are sold, providing Iowa City residents plenty of opportunities to get into the holiday spirit. From the Optimist Club tree sale, Ryan Paris, DITV.
Coming up later, a pair of Hawkeye quarterbacks hit the transfer portal.
And a look at your extended forecast.
All of that and more right after the break.
In Iowa City, history is being made every day. DITV is capturing it all. Politics, sports, and art. Local, state, and nationwide. In front of the camera, behind the scenes, DITV.
DITV.
DITV. DITV. DITV.
DITV Sports. DITV. DITV
is capturing history.
Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in live on thedailyiowan.com or listening on KRUI 89.7 FM.
Now let's take a look back outside with Jake, who has the forecast for the week ahead.
Well, thanks guys. It looks like we should finally be having a much needed warmer start to the week. On Saturday, temperatures are going to start out in the lower 20s but rise up to the mid 50s. And then on Sunday, it'll start out in the mid 30s but then also rise up to the mid 50s. On Monday, clouds will start to form and it'll be cloudy all day, but temperatures will remain in about the lower 40s. And those clouds will continue into Tuesday, where temperatures will drop back down to the lower 30s as well. Then on Wednesday, the temperature should fall back down and remain in the mid-20s all throughout the day. I know I am looking forward to that temporary relief in temperatures, but I'll toss it back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Jake. And Draven, I'm definitely interested as well to have some warmer weather for the weekend.
No, I'm definitely excited too, but it's unfortunate the Hawkeyes won't be able to experience it. For more on sports, let's send it over to DITV's Brady Barron.
From Scotland to Brunei, secondary school in the UK, college in Iowa, and now in Taiwan, Marcus Quirk has been chasing his pro basketball dreams. DITV's Joel Keller has part one of a three-part series detailing basketball's Mr. Worldwide.
He had a basketball and he had a hoop tied to a tree in a house that we lived in at that time. But he wasn't really into it. But it was a 9 or 10, he started picking it up.
Everybody else is playing football and other sports. I don't think he fits in. I don't think he feels to fits in.
Marcus was shooting around in the sports hall one day when his father's coworker, Danelle Williams, came up to him and said he wanted to start teaching the kids in the area more about the game of basketball. Donnell saw himself in Marcus and took the 10-year-old under his wing into pickup games with other adults.
It's just this wiry kid, just hoping to play ball and love to shoot the ball, The further the better. Would probably miss more than he made at the time. But it was all the beginning of him honing his skills.
At that time, it was just about the love of the game.
We taught him how to play defense and, which he was more interested in playing offense as opposed to defense like most kids his age did.
He would always make sure that I would get picked up. He'd be like, no, Marcus is playing. Make sure he gets on the team.
I made sure he played on my team because I wanted him to get in there and have an opportunity to play and learn how to play with these bigger guys and improve his skills. The proof's in the pudding.
Quirk's game continued to develop, and he outgrew the basketball scene in Brunei. So he completed high school at Charnwood College, playing for the Leicester Ryder Basketball Academy in the UK.
We knew that school had good connections with coaches in colleges in the US. The one he chose, one of the main reasons was that they did have good connections.
I went from being like the biggest fish in a tiny pond to got to the UK, and I was like the worst player there by far.
Cornell College head coach Dave Schlaba learned of Marcus through word of mouth at a basketball camp here in Iowa. He talked to Marcus's academy's girls basketball coach, and the 6'5" European piqued Schlaba's interest, so he hit the recruiting trail for Quirk.
Like the whole recruiting process was pretty much through Zooms and WhatsApp, and did most of it that way.
Quirk later committed to Cornell, his only American offer, but little did he know his story was just beginning. Stay tuned for part 2 on Monday. From Cornell College, I'm Joel Keller, DITV Sports.
Two Iowa quarterbacks Caden McNamara and James Reesar are hitting the transfer portal. McNamara transferred in from Michigan but struggled with injuries in Iowa City, playing just 11 games over 2 seasons and then throwing for 10 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. He'll look for his new home for his 7th season. The freshman Reesar was moved to wide receiver this year, but he didn't see any action. But the Hawkeyes also welcomed in 17 new recruits to the program on Wednesday. This is a smaller class than in previous years, featuring only 2 walk-ons, largely due to the NCAA's new roster limits.
Obviously, the 2 walk-ons and that number being so low is due to the 105 number. As we're going through and trying to restructure our roster, there's just not as much space as we once had, so that's something that's definitely unique for us. Usually, we've always got 10 to 12 walk-ons that are committed at this point, so this year only having 2, definitely a little bit different.
Iowa brought in the 2nd least recruits in the Big Ten, with their class ranking 39th nationally and 11th in the league. Coming off a dramatic win at the buzzer, Iowa men's basketball travels to 23rd ranked Michigan Wolverines for their 2nd Big Ten game. The Wolverines are 7-1 after an upset over the 11th ranked Wisconsin Badgers to open up Big Ten play. The Hawkeyes are 7-1 as well, with Josh Dix's late game heroics against Northwestern. The game is set to tip off at 1 o'clock. And the 7th ranked Iowa women's basketball team travels to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York to take part in the Women's Championship Classic tomorrow. The Hawkeyes this season are off to an 8-0 start under first-year head coach Jan Jensen, and they'll take on the 6-0 Tennessee Volunteers in a battle of undefeated teams. This is just the 4th time these 2 teams have met, and tip-off is set for 6 o'clock. Lots of fun things going on tomorrow in sports, but let's go back to Jake for a look at why it's a little colder than normal this December.
Thank you, Brady. Well, if you're wondering why it feels abnormally colder than usual this time of year, it turns out that the wind chill has actually been colder than the previous years. Last week, the average temperature here in Iowa City was just 12 degrees compared to this week last year, where temperatures were averaging 29 degrees. Generally, the average temperature of each month from year to year seems to increase overall due to global warming, but the wind chill in the last 2 weeks clearly has caused an overall showing of winter. Hopefully it does warm up soon, but back to you guys in the studio.
Pantone's color of the year has been announced.
That's right, Ryan. What was described as evocative soft brown, Mocha Mousse is 2025's color of the year. Leatrice Eisman, Pantone Color Institute Executive Director, said the color evokes thoughtful indulgence. Pantone experts select the color each December for the following year. They look at trends in interior design, moments of pop culture, and high fashion runways. Thank you for joining us online or listening on KRUI 89.7 FM.
We are here live from Iowa City every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 a.m. and online anytime at dailyiowan.com. For Jack Moore, I'm Ryan Lynch.
For Jake Rios and Brady Barron, I'm Draven Murray. See you again on Monday morning right here on DITV.